Speakers of Eidolon is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our Supreme and Master Speakers, Omeji Cat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Alex Franco AV, Winebow Brood, Aurora White, Psyche, Azuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimstarter, Lily Black, Bob Cece, Mikto Rabentau, Anathos Moonscar, Pamela Isley, Elenriel Maximus, Coderith Novelist, Mira, Celestau Notrell, Lazy Boy, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Stormarrow, Tex, Kylin, Arthur Law, Biridan Derard, Cypup, Spencer Christmas, Celine DeLune, Edwin, Woobs the Wolf, Severa, Circa Barakil, Kazran, Ventos Tia, Ryark Forbear, Late in the House, Tony, Arcadia Lunashine, Framboise Zakaro, Bergie, Fudge, Sephiel, Cafe, Gregorium Cartus, and Eros. Get early access to audio and video versions of the show, including the post-show, by supporting us at patreon.com/speakersxiv. Thank you. Good evening, Eorzeans. Welcome to Speakers of Eidolon, episode 442. I am Lukiel Braveston, and I'm joined today by Georgi Wiston, Mela Vana'diel, and Rollo Des. Hello. It is March. It's Saturday, March the 1st. It's the first day of March.
Lousy Smarch weather.
Yeah.
Smarch weather.
It is today. We're going to talk about. There's an interview that's been done with the devs for 14, and talk about why they chose Final Fantasy 11 for the Alliance raid, and of course we'll be talking about the upcoming live letter, 87, I think, was what we're on. Don't take my word for it, though. I think that's it. We'll find out in a moment, actually, in the show. So stay tuned.
Think I'm going to scroll down our show notes to find that out now and correct you?
Stay tuned to find out if I'm right. We'll also be reading.
Think it was
87.
86.
Fuck. I mean,
you know what? You deserve something for being that close, though.
Okay.
Yeah. You can have a lollipop.
Okay, stay tuned. Also, we'll be reading MogMail, speakersxiv.com/MogMail. Stay tuned for the poster. We'll be answering questions from the Syndicate. And hopefully now we can continue near far wherever you are. Get some prog on that. On that fanfic,
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Okay. Well, that's the show. Welcome, everybody. It's time for our recent events.
Second welcome.
Yeah, I've given you the menu, and now we're serving the dish. Bon appetit. We'll start with maintenance.
Favorite.
What an appetizer. Yum.
All worlds maintenance on March the 4th. In order to implement patch 7.18 hotfixes, maintenance will take place on all worlds at the time below, during which Final Fantasy XIV will be unavailable. We apologize. What?
Hot fixes for a patch that added nothing to the game.
Apparently, there's issues that people have been suffering. So I can't remember exactly what they were, but I have
vestigial issues, surely, or something that they're just fixing up now.
No, but apparently there were issues. Apparently, there were issues that started up in this last week, but I didn't see explicitly what they were.
Square Enix.
Is it under known issues in the? No, they just have resolved issues in the patch notes.
You add in like one quest and it breaks the whole game for people.
I don't even think there was a quest added in this last patch.
I would assume maybe it's like PvP related because they made a lot of changes to PvP. I don't know. Yeah. But hey, they need to fix that shit. So that starts at 6 a.m. GMT on March 4th until 10 a.m. So very like standard patch time though. But
it's
maintenance.
But for a
4
hot
hours
fix,
is generally the minimum.
Yeah,
okay, fair enough.
I guess.
When was the last time we had a 2-hour maintenance? I feel like they're not that short anymore.
I don't keep track.
It's just for hot fixes, though. I just feel like
it happens before I play anyway, you know.
Well,
so it never bothers me.
No one's playing at 7 a.m.
No.
This is really annoying for me because this is the day I get home from work early, and then I get home and then I can't even play the game.
Oh yeah, it's from 5 to 9. That's pretty bad.
He's got stuff to do. Everyone's got stuff to do. Royo Des.
That's true.
Leveling.
Not us. Level. We just play 14 and that's it.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, data center travel, you know, the usual stuff. You can't do things. They did do infrastructure maintenance in the last patch, but I would assume they'd need more time if it was related to like.
I feel like
that's true.
I saw some people talking about lag happening in the last week, but
well,
I didn't I haven't investigated it because it didn't affect me, so
Right.
I didn't care that much.
That's understandable.
Yeah. Also, again, I just feel like I have to mention this, that the Final Fantasy XIV companion app features will be unavailable until maintenance is ended. So just a heads up.
And similarly with the duty recorder.
The duty,
data.
yeah.
No nut for you. Can't use your nuts.
Right, no nuts and no duty recorder
and
data.
And if you better, I would, if you've got duty recordings already in the sort of bank, I'd probably fraps them.
Right.
So you can get them saved on your desktop. Because you won't be able to access them afterwards. So just fraps them.
Yeah.
Are there any features? So there are no features of the app that don't require access to the servers?
I think you are correct in that, Georgi, and I think you were also correct when you finished the sentence with no features in the app.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So there you go. Look forward to maintenance. Look forward to some time off from 14.
Yes. Sometimes you just need that 4 hours of introspection in between sessions for 14 to just, when the screen goes black in the CRT monitor and you see yourself in it and think, oh my.
Yes. Okay.
Cheeto dust coating you, and then you move on.
Okay, next we have information about the Primals. There is a digital download available. The post reads, "The Primals live in Japan. Darkest Before Dawn digital album precedes its Blu-ray release."
Yeah. That's an odd. What does they mean by that exactly?
Well, they say that the Primals' largest concert yet, held at Yokohama Arena, can now be downloaded as high-resolution audio ahead of its Blu-ray release. So you
can pre-download the FLAC file.
I guess so. I guess you can listen to the music before you get the Blu-ray.
Yeah,
that's good though. I mean, no one wants to wait for the mail to come to listen to their new album they've bought.
Right.
So fair enough. That's cool.
Rock out to this unforgettable live concert today. Okay. Digital.
Okay. I will.
Yeah. We'll rock out.
Sure.
Yeah. For the digital album, enjoy hard rock renditions of popular songs from A Realm Reborn to the latest expansion, Dawn Trail, whenever and wherever you please. It goes on sale on Wednesday, the 26th of February, 2025. So
a couple days ago.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. For digital retailers, read on for a list of digital retailers. Oh boy, here we go again. Okay, I'll give you the list as usual. iTunes Store, Amazon Music, Mora again for lossless, something else, and Animalo Mix. Here you go. Go enjoy.
Hey.
On Blu-ray, on the highly anticipated Blu-ray edition, you'll find live footage of 23 songs, a myriad of special guest appearances, and narration by Junichi Suwabe, the Japanese voice of Ardbert. The disc also includes player-submitted footage set to Endwalker Footfalls and an exclusive peek behind the scenes with Backstage with the Primals. And for those with home networks and computers compatible with Blu-ray discs, you can download the audio as convenient files that may be dispersed to smartphones and listening devices. Dispersed? So you won't be wanting for ways to enjoy this exciting content.
I mean, I think the first part of that sentence is also quite fascinating. And for those of you with home networks.
Yeah.
God, this is so Japanese. I don't remember any call for. I mean, maybe we report that. Maybe it's just slipped me by. But I don't remember any call for player submitted footage for the Endwalker Footfalls.
I'm pretty sure we talked about it. It was a while ago.
I think we talked about it.
It's been a long time. I mean, that's a really nice thing to do. There's because we have those community projects, by quite a few people at Husky, whatever, who do lots of big community projects. So it's nice to have an official one that they do.
Yeah. It's pretty.
Okay, and then for merchandise, the Primals live in Japan, Darkest Before Dawn special. So you can see below. This is what's in the box. We've talked about. This before.
It's cool artwork.
Yeah.
It's very D&D looking.
It does look like that.
Yeah, I see that.
It's pretty neat. It's nice.
You also then, of course, you get the bonus in-game item codes that we mentioned before. There are 2 orchestrion roles, Be My Honey and Give It All, which...
Be My Honey is sung by Sirkin and Gunn, and Give It All, I believe, is sung by Amanda Aiken.
Okay.
They posted the videos of these 2 songs on the YouTube channel recently.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, there you go.
I had a little sneaky peek.
Well, there you go. Yeah, that's available.
It was a trip.
Available for pre-order and download now, I think, right?
Get in there.
So go get that if you want it. Next is a interesting story, just mentioning. We have...
He's the hot pot.
Final Fantasy XIV.
I mean, you gotta reuse it.
Final Fantasy XIV is getting a traditional Chinese release for Taiwan, Hong Kong, etc. in 2025. The OCP announcement video release.
That's the highlight, not Lukiel. That's not the headline says.
Yes. This is what the headline says.
Lukiel wouldn't do that.
I feel like that's a really important etc. there. Considering the countries these are released in.
Yeah.
Rono. Taiwan, Hong Kong.
Yeah, right.
Etc.
Right.
No other
countries like that.
Yeah.
They give the same vibe.
Yeah, the Taiwan vibe.
Yeah. Just announced, will be released later in 2025 by a Taiwanese company called Unified Entertainment in collaboration with Shibao International.
Unified Entertainment.
Regions served by the new version will include Taiwan, Hong Kong, Singapore, Macau, Malaysia, etc.
Etc.
Why etc.?
Why can't they just list all the countries?
Why is it so coy about which countries are covered?
Is the list so long that you don't want to be exhaustive in posting them all, or is
I might live in a country that uses traditional Chinese that's not listed. Now I have no idea whether or not I'm going to be served by this. Seriously. And this is the smallest article ever. This is a paragraph. Our whole article's a paragraph. They couldn't even be bothered to list them all.
For those not familiar with the mainland China or Korean releases of Final Fantasy XIV, these are run on local servers separate from the global servers in collaboration with local companies. Press conference about the new version is planned for March 30th.
Okay, a month from now.
Yeah. So there you go.
This is kind of confusing to you guys, though, isn't it? Don't you? Because it's using traditional Chinese, which okay, Taiwan uses that.
Yeah.
Hong Kong does as well.
Mm-hmm.
Although I think they're slowly switching over to simplified. But Malaysia, Singapore, those countries, and especially Singapore, when they get their own versions of stuff or they're joining, it's usually just in English.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it is. I don't know what the other countries are, but
I mean,
you go
with
traditional Chinese.
I think most of the people that play in these countries already play on North American servers.
They have
access to the global servers for sure. Quite a lot of these. We have viewers who play on.
Yeah, are they going to get IP blocked? I hope not.
I really don't think.
No. I cannot imagine that they would prevent people from continuing their accounts that they've already established on.
That would be the worst play they could do, right? That would be insane.
But also,
as Singapore and Hong Kong are supported on the global version.
Yeah.
So we don't? What about Taiwan as well?
So
maybe not then.
From a Taiwanese gaming website, just to clarify, it says the MMORPG will officially enter Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau, Singapore, and Malaysia. Period.
So the etc. was...
The etc. seems to not be included in the actual article. So
they decided that if there was ever a future expansion of the traditional Chinese market, they would just edit this article.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's still... I don't know. It's a strange choice.
At this point in the game's life cycle, for countries that can't access global, absolutely a cool idea.
Yeah.
Also,
wouldn't it be nice to have access to just the same servers as the mainland, Chinese, or I don't know, or just add it into the game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do they have to be
another
separate?
Region?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why do they have to keep serving different regions at different paces?
And every time a new region is added that is not Latin America, it's such a slap in the face. That is a huge fucking market.
That's true.
That. Mm-hmm. Why you're going for parts of South Asia?
Chad brings up a fair, interesting point. This might be to account for the fact that, you know how they've specifically been asking for people's real addresses? This might be because of the fact that there were people in Southeast Asia in general that had to pretend they were in America to play the game.
That is fair. It's a tricky one for sure, but it makes...
That's like a Square Enix account management thing, though. I feel like
it doesn't make sense to... If they can access global, even if they had to like be janky with their address on their account, their internet provider lets them access global, so why do they need their own client that is separate from everyone else?
Oh, I agree. I just worry that like this is their push.
Well, the trend here, to latch on to Rollo's point, is that South America will have its own gated community as well. Like,
no, I can't imagine South America would be gated. It would be like Oceania, so unpopulated but used.
I hope so. I really hope so.
I think if they put the servers in a good spot in like South America or maybe parts of Central America, I think some people would, like, if they give them free transfers too, they would go there.
They would get free transfers
for sure.
Yeah,
but like it's just such. How do you underserve that? There's so many people in that America that play this game. Come on,
Rollo. It's so far away from Asia, so far away from Japan.
So true.
Yeah.
Listen, but no, we got a guy on the inside though. Okay. Soken's Mexican, right? He's our guy. He will push.
I don't think he has Mexican citizenship. I think he was just born there.
Yeah.
No, he was. So he has citizenship.
Is that how it works?
I don't know anything about this. I don't know anything about this.
Does he renounce that though?
Rollo, I think Japan is one of the countries that requires you to renounce other citizenship when you hit 20.
Yeah. That's a shame. I was tempted to speak to him in Spanish when I saw him, by the way, but I didn't go for it.
I think he might understand you.
I know. I don't know if he did, but I was tempted to be. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Come on, Soken, pull through for Latin America, please.
Yeah, I think they'll push out. It's just a weird move. Yeah. And I understand it for countries with very strong censorship laws like China mainland, but I don't necessarily understand it for places like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know why Singapore has to join this weird small
the traditional Chinese.
Yeah,
it is an interesting move. Yeah.
There must be a reason that they had to do it this way.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Moving on. We have something to look forward to very soon. Letter from the producer live part 86 is set for the 14th of March, which will cover part 2 of the 7.2 content reveal.
Yeah. Forgot the name of it.
Seekers of Eternity. Yeah.
Because there's no patch website or anything up still.
No, I'm assuming that will pop up.
Yeah, have to be just after before. This, but I thought it would be up by now.
You don't think it will pop up before?
I think it'll pop up this week, to be honest.
Yeah.
I think it normally pops up a month before the patch. It doesn't There's normally more than 3 weeks. Yeah. So I feel like it has to be this week.
I think so. Yeah. The live letter itself will start on the 14th of March at 10 a.m. GMT. Mm-hmm. That's 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Time.
It's 1 hour earlier than last time.
Yes.
That's 11 Central European Time. AM.
Mailer and I were speculating that it was because this will be a longer live letter and they wanted to start earlier.
Yeah, I believe he even said that at the end of the last live letter, that it would be a longer one. So this is going to be beefy. This is also for those that don't watch the live letters very often. Part 2 is when they show in-game demonstrations, so we'll probably get to see
the trailer as well.
The trailer, yes.
The trailer.
We'll see.
Then there will be the first wing of Arcadion. M5.
The second wing.
Well,
the first.
You're saying
they'll
display that? Yeah.
Okay. We'll get to see live demonstration of cosmic exploration, probably.
Yes.
And probably
we'll get to see
also
some printouts of the tome gear.
Yes, and we'll probably also see a live demo of Occult Crescent.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. Eureka 3.
Yes.
So this is the level to pay attention to, not the last one.
This is the most important one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not waking up for that, by the way. You guys have fun.
Wow. Because that's like 7 or something. Yeah, Eastern.
Yeah. Not for me.
that's coming up. Live letter 86
we
will
were
cover it,
perfectly
obviously.
correct. We were perfectly. We predicted perfectly the timing of this and when the patch will be for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once the trailer finishes, it'll say March 25th.
Yeah.
2025.
Yeah, because we'll get the date.
Unless it just it says April 1st, and then it cuts them in tears, just laughing their heads off, got you. But
Yeah,
it'll be March 25th.
Yeah. Okay, so that's that. I'm just double checking the times for NA. It's 3 a.m. PDT.
Oh, you can stay up for that.
Yeah.
That'd be so stay up until
6
7 a.m. Summer 6.
Yeah, 6 a.m. Eastern then.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Live letter. We'll be covering it, of course. So tune in here if you want that. All right. That's all for recent events. Let's jump into the mailbag and see what we have
MogMail.
from MogMail. It's from Marilyn Monroe. Hi diddly ho, speakerinos. Why do we still have the vestigial distinction of disciples of war and disciples of magic? In what world are red mages and paladins both not simply magic guys with swords?
Whoa.
But Marilyn, I hear you cry, red mages are intended to do a lot more casting. It's a caster. To which I reply, the only thing physically stopping me from just doing sword things on red mage and zero casting is my raid lead breaking into my house again and strangling me with my own Ethernet cable. I bring this up because for some reason there are a couple of A Realm Reborn sets that are organized in 3 groups: Disciple of Magic, Disciple of War, and Tanks. Tanks who can also glamour Disciple of War for some reason, even though melee jobs have no access at all to the tank gear equivalents. I wouldn't be as mad with these arbitrary distinctions if I couldn't lock-style any job I want into the slutty crop top from the Warrior Artifact +1 set in Final Fantasy XI and go about my day wasting everyone's time in pickup groups. Thanks for listening to my old man yells at Cloud manifesto. I will see whoever designed this system in 14 sent to The Hague. Okay.
This is like the old men yelling at the Cloud podcast.
True.
Yes, it really is.
Grandpa Simpson. Abraham
That's
Simpson.
who we are. That's our audience too.
Yeah.
Just don't distinguish tanks from disciples of war.
No.
They are disciples of war still within the concept of the disciple of war.
Yeah.
Well, it's mostly a mechanical one too. It's not like a narrative. Like in narrative, they'll say people who do magic and stuff. But I think if an in-universe character saw a red mage doing that shit, like, oh man, that's like a magic sword guy. That's crazy.
Exactly. It's not.
If you were curious about the crop top he was talking about from 11, it is. Let me turn down this ability.
Thanks.
Is that what's that gear called?
Thanks,
Viper?
Yoshi
Thanks,
That's the Warrior +1 artifact gear from 11. Yeah, there you are.
Oh yeah. Smile, Roddo.
Yeah. Okay. Well. No, I think we're fine the way we are. I don't think it's.
I agree. I don't see. It's just a. It's just a neat way of grouping physical versus magical damage.
If it's tied to glamour, this is a complaint that we've had for a while.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Glamour things from other jobs and roles.
Yeah.
That's the main issue, which I think we all agree should be changed, and seems pretty easy to change to an extent.
Yeah.
As for Disciple of War and Magic, I think that's just something you see in the menus, and that's kind of it.
Yeah.
It really doesn't affect much outside of that. Past A Realm Reborn.
No, it's true.
And realistically, in A Realm Reborn, the classes, the classes that you play are put into these groupings. So Gladiator rather than Paladin. Paladin as a job is a sort of super secret lost organization that you reform, blah blah blah. So the magical elements of
the Paladins.
We joined them up there, but they were like a small super thing. They're not the job that is specified in Disciple of War.
Right.
so it doesn't affect them as much.
No.
And most
They
of
are
the
still
ones that have
class-
come later aren't really actually in any of these, probably.
They do still get classified as them because there are achievements specifically for capping all Disciple of War and all Disciple of
Yeah.
Magic jobs specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah. Well, we've talked about the locking of gear as well. So you're
Yeah.
I relate to Old Man Yells at Cloud. That's what we do here on this show.
We love that.
But I think
Artifact gear, fine.
yeah, I
If
think
you
we've
have
all
to.
agreed on artifact gear. If we have to lock something,
If that's our
But-
concession,
yeah.
That's fine. But not. Come on.
Yeah.
who cares? The bikini tanks have been eternals
They've
since
been there since
nearly
the-
launch.
Yeah,
think,
The
right?
pretty
moment
much.
you,
Yeah.
the moment you put in Colosseum Subligar,
Yeah.
you'd
Yeah.
already lost.
Yeah.
I mean, think about all the gear in like Shisui of the Violet Tides.
Oh, God.
They all
Yeah,
look the fucking
tank
same.
gear
Yeah.
is cloth.
Yeah.
It's
It
just
is.
like little
It's
skirt
a
bikinis.
little,
Yeah.
it's a bra.
Yep.
So yeah, it's an embarrassing thing for him, like a weird hill for him to die on.
Yeah.
And in this scenario, actually, Yoshi P is the old man yelling at the cloud.
He is.
He
He's
is.
like, what do you mean you don't want to look like the class that
Yeah.
you are our job, even though you can already do that already, but ignore that.
Yeah.
You dress up your
Oftentimes,
Lalafell like Minfilia.
yeah, that's creepy.
Yes.
Oftentimes, using gear from another class would help me look more like the job fantasy of whatever glamour I'm working on anyway.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really help.
True. Okay. Well, we
But thank God we have 26 variations of Makai shorts for each individual class.
yeah.
You gotta in demand.
Yep.
Oh.
All right. Well, thank you, Marilyn Monrogaden. Always nice to hear from you. Next
Classic viewer.
classic.
Yeah.
Also classic viewer coming up now is from Gizmo Gear Changer from Famfrit. Hello, speakers. I recently beat Final Fantasy IX for the first time. So, Final Fantasy IX spoilers for this MogMail.
Oh my God.
All right, I haven't
Okay.
played it, but tell me.
Okay.
Spoilers.
I wanted to ask if you guys think there's any chance we see Kuja and or Necron in 14. I mainly ask because I really want to hear their battle themes remixed. I feel like maybe the recently revealed Asahi-like researcher-looking character could be a Kuja-esque character. Maybe instead of being full of themselves, they think a world without Sphene isn't a world worth living in, as opposed to Kuja's a world without me isn't worth living in. Maybe Necron could be some sort of morbid congregation of Sphene's memories throughout all the iterations she's had. Thinking on that line, we don't know how many times Sphene has died, do we? Maybe Sphene has died... Maybe Sphene has died, then been quickly replaced, and the regulators make everyone forget before. That could add to this Necron theory. Piecemeal, though it is. Sincerely, Gizmo. P.S. This is a very suspicious line to end the MogMail with. P.S. I am not a Rollo burner account. XD.
No, I don't know.
I think we must have said, "Are you Rollo?" or
We
something.
must
must
have
have.
accused him of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I
yeah.
thought it was in context of this question. Like, I don't
No.
know what you're
No, it's
talking
nothing
about.
related to this question.
No,
I think
okay.
it might also have been a week that you weren't here.
Yeah.
Accused them of this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, I should do that. Huh? I should send in MogMail. Like,
Under
I don't know,
alternate
put my-
names.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing stopping
Bolo
you.
Best.
But
Yes!
it's me, Bolo Best.
Necron is in Final Fantasy XIV in the form of Endsinger thematically,
That's true.
but I'm absolutely
yeah.
up for the Necron's design.
That's the one with the rings, isn't it? Like
It has
like,
the rings around the back and like the big arms, and it's got the large man breast as well.
Yes.
I think Necron is much more likely than Kuja because I think Kuja is a much more
100%.
specific character. Necron kind of comes out of nowhere in 9.
Yeah, Necron is a Final Fantasy issue.
Yeah, there you go.
Like as amazing
That's
as 9
Necron.
is, the idea of having like a final boss that's never mentioned is like an issue with Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
But he's cool. But he is just existential dread, the enemy.
Yes.
So we've already had him.
Yeah.
Whereas Kuja is
Kuja is interesting.
Kuja is interesting, but I don't know how they would. I don't know how they would do him well. I mean, he would have to be tied to Alexandria, and he would be part of the Sphene arc, sure.
Yeah.
I feel like Kuja would have to be related to another character, but it will have some sort of relationship similar to how Kuja has a relationship with Zidane.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's a significant part of his character. And I don't know if we have a Zidane-esque character. I don't know, maybe... we don't really have a... Maybe Wuklamart, but I don't really see that.
She's the closest we have, but she's not in the Final Fantasy IX storyline enough to be that. That's the trouble.
No,
we never had a
exactly.
companion. Realistically, we should have left her behind and had a new companion for the Alexandria section of the game who could have mimicked Zidane, and then it would have worked out.
Yeah.
So it's difficult because we've already met all of her brothers. There's no one else we can have that's related. Like the fifth brother who was left behind and then somehow went and lived in Alexandria for 30 years and went evil. Like it just won't be very satisfying.
Yeah.
I think you just want Kuja because of his horrendous outfit.
Because of his waist.
Everything. I mean, he wears like the collar of a cloak and a thong.
Yeah.
That's his outfit.
Yeah.
What about when he goes full monkey?
That bit's cool.
That's cool.
Kuja's trance is cool. All the trances.
That's
in
what they're
Nine
called,
were
trances.
really cool. Yeah, that was a cool mechanic. I liked that.
Let's just...
although annoying, you could never control it.
Not me having to go to Pinterest to get a picture, but this is the Cydia version of him. But just so you get an idea of what it might have looked like here. This is... There he is.
I mean, this is the most high-resolution version of Kuja we've ever received. I don't think we've seen a...
Yeah.
I don't think we have any other higher resolution versions of it.
Basically dressed like Prish,
praise be to Cydia.
Praise be. Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, we are in a 9-themed expansion, so it's
exactly.
It is possible that we get one.
I mean,
like this.
You know, the dungeon that we're going to, we've already had, talks about what could appear in there. We know the trial is Beatrix.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, we're not going to get Kuja in theme, probably, but we may get Kuja in model. And if that's all you want, then you may be happy with that.
Yeah.
Well, Kuja in model could quite easily be... They could easily make a Kuja-esque character be a Arcadian opponent.
That's true, too.
Ooh, that's also true.
Because of how Kuja works.
Yeah.
That could be just some Mikote fused with a Opo.
Yeah.
Let's also not forget that Kuja called Queen Braun the Elephant Lady. I think we just
that's not nice.
Worth remembering. I still want Queen Braun in Final Fantasy XIV, just in any way.
I agree.
I think Braun's going to be like the final trial of this new series they're doing.
You think it's going to be a trial? I feel like Queen Braun might... I think we talked about this previously, but I think Queen Braun might just be in the dungeon.
She might be, but that would be upsetting. I want Queen Braun as like a Shinryu-sized... one of the trials...
Shinryu-sized?
When the trials like turns massive and it's just like at the edge of the arena? I want her to be a giant like that. With a big scary face.
Yeah. She's I don't know what she is, but she is great. It's very hard.
What are elephants called in Final Fantasy? Are they Kujas?
I mean, come on.
She's so beautiful.
That's fantastic.
What are
is
the
idea that she didn't always look like that as well?
Oh, I don't remember. But her like Amano art is I mean, Amano's art is always crazy when it comes to like the characters. They don't really look like her or them. But I think he kind of... Fuck, dude. The Amano art is so bright. That's pretty good.
I like her. She's a Valkyrie.
Yeah, she's got a she's getting Valkyrie with like.
She's like she's like the
like in the not like actual Valkyries. Yeah, the opera. Yeah.
Yeah.
She has the hat with like the big
Queen Braun sings.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see if we get Kuja.
Yeah, and I do believe your theory around Necron is interesting in terms of being Sphene related. But I don't know.
Yeah.
We've had a Necron character who, for all intents and purposes, within our game is as surely as strong as it can get.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
catastrophic.
I feel as if there's a very good chance that Necron could be involved in the story in the same way that like Zeromus got involved in the Void storyline, in the sense that it wasn't Zeromus, it was just like
Zero
sort of,
and Ashtan's
yeah.
soul merged into one.
Not even Zero's. It was.
Oh no.
It was the original Golbez, wasn't it?
Yeah, did he fall backwards into it after we?
Oh yeah, right.
Can't quite.
Yeah, I think
it was
so.
so good that I can't quite remember.
It's so good I forgot.
No, it was the original Golbez because it was the original Golbez's soul crystal. Remember?
Oh yeah, right.
Now I remember.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll see. Just looking forward to more 9 references, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll
9's
probably see it.
underrepresented.
Yes.
I mean, I like having 9 references, but I thought one of the things we appreciated about Dawn Trail was that it wasn't such a direct reference to the game that it was paying homage to.
That's true, and it
For sure.
It probably still won't. I don't know how, because we're not getting Beatrice. Like we're getting or Beatrix.
But the fact, like in, she's clearly like
she's
within
a robot.
the concept of the universe. She's like the Otis and everything.
And that's fine.
So they can do it with a good spin.
Yeah.
But we are in Alexandria Palace.
Yes.
We have to get something.
As long as it doesn't turn into just but that's not possible already, because the problem we had with the previous line is that it sort of just became it just became the storyline of the Four Lords in the
it was really, really bad.
We're already so deviated from 9's storyline anyway, so that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas that was just horror. It was a really low point in there's a real low point in the storyline.
Of existence there.
Okay, well, thank you, Gizmo. Good to know this is not Rollo's burner account.
Giz.
We'll do one more. Here we go. This is from Ancilla Starweaver from Lamia. Howdy, speakers. Today I bring you a question of great import. It's a matter that has plagued me for some time. When Graha Tia, full name, took the Crystal Tower to the First, did Eureka Orthos teleport with it? I know it's under the Crystal Tower, but it is considered part of it. Is it considered a part of it or a separate facility? If it was taken to the First, what danger could it pose to the inhabitants there? Should the experiments end up? Am I having a stroke? Or perhaps the Ironworks cleared it out already. How did the Crystal Tower manage teleport so perfectly to the First anyway? Seems like it would have toppled over without having the proper supports and foundation to hold it up. The Exarch's power must be formidable indeed.
I think this is very much a time when you have to think that like it's magic and that's how it works.
Yeah.
The Labyrinth of the Ancients didn't teleport with it.
No.
I think the Labyrinth is on a higher level than Eureka Orthos.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Seems whatever the ground floor was. And I guess they renovated some of it too on the First too. So it's not exactly the same.
Yeah.
But
because based on what we see, when you enter the Crystal Tower on the First, you do enter at essentially the base floor of the Circus Tower.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's the ground floor, and then it just rooted itself in Lakeland.
Yeah. Because
if it didn't have the foundations, I'm sure Graha took one step out and like, oh, let's fix that.
Yeah.
He made it like the floor underneath is like a big anchor of crystal probably, and it's fine. It's okay.
Or maybe, how about this? Because it's the same spot where the Crystal Tower is on the source, right? It's just, there's a place for it already, like naturally. You know?
That's good.
When you teleport, it's just like the same essential ground features and everything. So it just like slots in like a key.
Right in.
Yeah.
So you don't even got to worry about it.
Yeah.
Or maybe it doesn't have a foundation, but it's so heavy and it's not very windy on the First that it doesn't fall over.
Ah, I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's yeah. Because the Crystal Tower is like, there's Circus Tower, which is the Crystal Tower itself, like the visual part. Yeah. And then there's the Labyrinth underneath. And then below the Labyrinth is where Orthos is. Yeah?
Exactly.
So there are three different... There are three different entities.
Yeah.
So there you go. The only Crystal Tower, or maybe
Wow.
future content.
Do you know what? They can do so. Yeah. The next deep dungeon, Eureka Orthos, but the first version, and it's all the same because it's just the interior.
Yeah,
But that's how they get us.
Yes,
Easy
Neo
content.
Orthos.
Neo Orthos.
That's
Oh,
basically
this
what
one's-
this dungeon is every time anyway. So
Yeah,
why not?
yes.
I mean,
Make
but-
it the exact same.
Yeah.
Who cares anymore?
yeah.
This
I
one
don't
has more flaws.
Ah,
Uh-huh. I mean, I don't want it, but like, if we get to the end of the game's life cycle and they decide to just make that, I'd be fine with that as like maintenance mode content.
Sure.
But they don't need to touch it before then.
sure. Yeah. No.
As for the dangers in there, I mean, we cleared out most of the baddies already by the time.
Yeah.
From Circus Tower and all those parts or whatever and above.
Yeah. That's true.
So it would just be the Ortho stuff, which is.
I mean, we've cleared that out now.
There's
though.
a lot of stuff in Orthos.
But we've cleared that out now, and remember the Crystal Tower on the first teleported from the Crystal Tower of the 8th Umbral Calamity in the future.
Oh yeah. So
After
that's
we had
probably already been
out
cleared.
Orthos anyway.
Yeah.
No,
So
we would have been dead, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've cleared it out now, haven't we?
Yeah.
No, because
Well,
that's a
that
different
happened-
timeline, Mailer,
yeah.
because the 8th Umbral
timeline
Calamity
split
happened
happened
before
earlier,
before
yeah.
the events
Oh, that is
of
true.
Dawn
Yeah.
Trail and
So
then
theoretically, it's still in there.
Yeah, the wee beasties are still about, and they
Yeah.
will terrorize like land.
Well, maybe they didn't have any food and they've all died.
That's it. They ran out of food.
Mailer, some of them are
maybe,
machines.
maybe Graha was just smart and be like, I'm not going to teleport them with me.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm just taking the tower.
Yeah.
You guys can stay behind.
Yeah.
It's also possible that what is Orthos is the twinning, which is something that chat was speculating earlier.
That's possible.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Possible.
Maybe, in the hard conditions of the 8th Umbral Calamity, they hunted the beasts in Orthos for sustenance.
Uh-huh.
And
Some of them
deactivated all the
aren't.
machines.
As I've said before, some of them
deactivated
aren't-
the machines.
Okay. For why?
They've run out of battery.
Because they're scared. Yeah, they've run out of battery.
I mean, I
How's
just
one of that?
wouldn't. What's his face? Just protect them, the dragon, anyway.
Oh.
Nidhogg, not Nidhogg. God.
Ashstein.
Midgard
Midgard
Stormer.
Sommer.
Oh,
No.
Midgard.
Yeah, Midgard Sommer. Wouldn't. I mean, he's right there.
That's true.
I feel like he'd just be like, yeah, don't come out. I'll blow you up.
Yeah.
I know Graha left you after he teleported the tower and you fell into a crater. So stay in that crater or else.
Yeah.
I think we've solved it.
We've solved it. We've sorted it out. Don't worry, guys. Lakeland is safe.
Speakers are always on the case.
We
Uh-huh.
are. We are.
We'll make up some of the best bullshit ever.
That's right.
Yeah. One of those spinny transitions. But yeah.
Okay, well, there you go. Thank you, Ancilla Starweaver. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's all quiet down there.
Don't lose sleep over it.
Don't
We'll
don't lose sleep.
Don't lose sleep over it.
Please.
Okay, let's do one more. Here we go. This is from Honey Rider from Zervan.
Honey Rider.
Hi, speakers. Hope you're all doing well. Considering the discussion you had last week about Viper and the potential lack of... Was that last week? A couple of weeks
Last
ago.
week, wow, look at how on top we are.
Wow.
And the potential lack of
But
job
you know what
ideas.
that means, chat? Send MogMail.
Yeah.
Yes, true.
And the potential lack of job ideas. How do you feel if the next expansion they didn't release new jobs but instead dedicated that resource time to giving existing jobs more identity or just other content altogether? Personally, I'd had no problem, but I feel like some of the community may disagree. Perhaps having an expansion where there's not necessarily a poster boy class, but one that shows off the Warrior of Light's weapon prowess could be cool, like the Shadowbringers opening trailer. Wishing you all the best in these turbulent times. Thank you, Honey Rider.
I mean, the Warrior of Light doesn't always get a new job. He's only done that twice
He was
with
Paladin for
Samurai.
Endwalker.
Yeah, with Samurai and now Viper. They very well could reuse an old job. And to be honest, I would be okay with this. I would like it if they went back to all the old jobs and reworked them. But they've said, unfortunately, that there'll never be an expansion without at least one new job because that's one of the things that makes the most hype.
Yeah,
It's the
I mean,
community.
it really is. People, I mean, we're talking about it now. People love to speculate about jobs. There is like infinite potential, and there will be many infinite armchair game devs to say whatever kind of dumb bullshit for a job.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, I also would very much welcome this. I don't, imagine if they only brought out one job, and in one universe it was Pictomancer, but in the other universe it was Viper.
Yeah.
There's like one time when you're like, wow, really cool, creative, colorful class. In the West, it's just, it is a good melee, but it's just a quite standard melee.
Yeah.
You would probably think to yourself, maybe you should have just worked on some of the other classes, or added more content. So
Yeah.
I don't care that much. If they're not going to do a good class, like a really unique, fun, well-designed class, it's better to not bother.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind the focus on retooling jobs, but like, I think with the current design philosophy they have, I don't know if they would really please that many people. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
I think it's I don't know. With how they do it, right? They want jobs to be the same, right?
That's the trouble.
They don't really change through expansions. Like, it's not the core part for the most part. There's always the big reworks, and those are always big news. Like Machinist, that was a new job.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah.
Same thing with Summer. That was a new job. But they don't want to go outside the box really with old stuff.
Summoner rework was a real positive for me, though. I think they really got Summoner into a good place.
I think you're in the minority for that. I mean, I like it, but I think people who played Summoner before.
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
People who were
No,
Summoner,
it's
maybe
because
not, I really like it.
well, I do agree that the people that stuck with Summoner up through to the point of the rework really liked that version of Summoner, but then there were the people that didn't play Summoner because they already did not like the direction it was going in. And then when they changed it, they did like what they did with it. It's kind of thing where like they're pleasing a new crowd, but not necessarily the old crowd.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily know if it's a minority that dislike the current Summoner, more so just a different group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to not like Summoner because they were able to do more DPS than me, but without having to require as much skill.
Right.
That was very upsetting.
This might be kind of a weird thing to say, but I feel like if I like playing every job, or like I can play every job, and like be okay with it at least, I don't think that's a good thing, if that makes sense. Because like
I know what you
I
mean.
can see
We need higher skill ceilings on subjobs, but they don't want to do that.
No.
And I think that they're afraid of leaning too heavily into very specific job identities, because it does make switching between jobs harder. Like, if I have to learn too much to play this job well, I'll either not do it, or I'll then dedicate to that job and lose, another job.
Yeah.
So they end up being very samey, and then they homogenize them over a long period of time. Look at tanks; they all do like this. They all have the same moves, more or less, but with different names.
Yeah.
Weirdly, I mean, not weirdly, but yeah, I think it's okay that I hate Bard, right? I think it sucks.
Okay.
It's a doo-doo ass job, man.
Okay. Jesus.
But that's okay. I don't want to like it, you know?
Right.
Like I didn't want to like Monk, right?
Right.
I just don't like how that played at all.
Mhm.
And that's fine. I think that's okay. That is an okay thing for the devs to kind of, shoot for. Like I have my preferences, you guys too.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, you should obviously make the best version of the thing you have there. You can, but when you're trying to make it that broad and appeal, it's like, you don't gotta do that. You gotta do that. You're not gonna please everyone, and you shouldn't try to.
No, I agree with
agree.
that. Yeah.
Not every
Old
job needs to be
Bard-
for every person.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, old Bard was much more unique than it is now,
Yes.
and had a
Like-
lot of good support stuff. And it worked. Like when I had a Bard, I felt it. And then they added in the Bard Mage, which
Well,
realistically made more sense than Machinist Mage. Pulling back a bowstring.
they
Then it all just went to
You
hell.
cock the gun harder.
yeah.
It doesn't. Well, Machinist should have always just been click. I don't know why I had cast timers.
Well, I will always be sad that they gave up on support being like an actual real
agree.
thing in the game.
Yeah.
Because they backed it up very quickly.
Yeah, I
After
know.
Realm Reborn.
They would have to change like so many encounter designs in this game, though,
That's the
because damage is king.
Yeah.
It is what DPS. That is all that matters essentially in this game.
Yeah.
And so you kind of limit to what you can do, or at least there are ways around it for sure, but you'd have to be a very creative and very talented game designer to make that happen. I think.
Yeah.
At
Not
this
saying that the
point,
developers
they
aren't.
can't.
Not saying the developers aren't.
No.
But you might
It's-
need like a superstar on there.
It would
Yeah.
require a massive rework, and with the amount of jobs there are in the game, it would be very difficult to do it in a way that would satisfy everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they are like they do the really interesting big job overhauls as like 1 or 2 per expansion,
Mhm.
which doesn't feel good enough when like if 8.0 is the combat's going to be good again, guys, don't worry. Every job has to suddenly feel unique and very fun,
Yeah.
which is a huge undertaking, and either other content will suffer for it or it just won't actually be
But
that big a deal.
yeah.
And I agree with that. I think if you in a world where they have like they can make every job in this game feel very unique,
Yeah.
and play really interestingly and differently, and they all have their cool identity, and it means don't add jobs for a little bit. I'm all for that.
Yeah, because Yoshi P played with the idea of adding like, not necessarily. He did mention. I don't know if skill
They were
tree
like
was
ultra
mentioned,
jobs,
but
weren't
like
they? Yeah.
like
Mm.
advanced jobs. Or
I
whatever.
like that.
And
Yeah.
Play with that.
I think they are able to make jobs different in some ways. Like maybe I'm mistaken, and the community will correct me on this. I think all the casters play quite differently to one another, at least in the current
I
game.
agree with the casters.
Especially with Picto. My God.
Yeah.
I still
Casters-
think it's one of the most creative
Casters
jobs
are
out
the
there.
only
Yeah.
group of jobs where I feel like each job I play feels like a unique identity.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them
Mhm.
I don't think are very interesting. I don't actually like Red Mage's rotation, but it does feel like Red Mage a bit.
Yeah.
A Black Mage and Summoners still feel very different to each other. And
Mm-hmm.
Picto, yeah, it has like the weird motif buffs, which are very unique.
Yeah, I would say I think every job does at least have something. Like there is something. Like I still, I mean,
Mhm.
I know we kind of say that tanks are homogenized a bit, but like I don't like playing every tank. I think
Right.
No, I don't either.
there's
there are
enough of
things
a
different.
difference
Yeah.
for me to be like I will
Paladin-
not play this.
Yeah.
Paladin, very fun, and Warrior Dark Knight fun, and Gunbreaker. I don't know why, but I just don't like playing it. I don't
Yeah.
know why. There's something about Gunbreaker I don't like, but some
Mhm.
people love Gunbreaker. So
I'd say I feel like there might be an issue in terms of design here, design changes, if every speaker can play Monk.
Yeah.
If all 4 of us can play Monk in its current form,
Uh-huh.
maybe there's something that went wrong along the way. Maybe I don't know. I'm not a Monk player, so I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I've capped Monk. I've not geared it, and I have not actually. I don't think I've played Monk in any level 100 content at all. I really don't play it often enough. But it's just press button,
It is press button.
follow
Button lights
glowy
up,
button,
press
and you
button.
usually
It's
find
pretty
same.
similar. It's pretty similar to current Viper.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I find Viper a
terms
little
of
more
flow.
satisfying.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I
yeah,
think because Viper's flow is more smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it
Viper
leans
feels
more to
good.
Ninja, really, with like you enter input combo inputs.
Oh,
to
yeah.
a certain thing.
Yeah.
Ninja's quite unique.
Yeah, but the thing with monks having to do the combo inputs is that it's more part of your actual rotation. With Ninja, you have to go out of your way to use your mudras.
Oh,
That
that's
is
They're
true.
not part
Yeah.
of your rotation.
Yeah.
The monk rotation one, if you do it correctly every time, is nice. It keeps all your buffs up,
Yeah.
and it flows well.
Yeah.
Some feel less. I know you love. I'm not going to say anything mean about Samurai War. I know you love it, but I do think
I don't even like Samurai.
you know
I
how
think
you
it's
have
alright.
to do.
think
You
it's
know how you
okay.
have to do one sen and then use Higan, Ban or whatever, and then redo that sen and then do the other 2 sen to get to, whatever it's called. I just think that flows weird. I don't like having to do one skill, then do a special skill, then redo the skill to start like building up the rest.
It makes sense.
Samurai's
to me.
always felt weird to me.
I think it's fine, but like I said earlier, I think it's fine that.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's good. I think
it's cool.
Good. It's
I
at
will.
least
I will
its own
never play
job.
Scholar in my life. I do hope
No.
to destroy Scholar one day, just for fun.
How fucking
Yeah, I
it's the
agree.
most clunky job in the game, and that's what makes it great.
I hope they rip that shit apart one day.
Scholar.
Why do you eat the fairy? Why does it not link up with the other shit? What's going
Scholar.
on?
Yeah.
Scholar is the anti-synergy job, and also it is currently the job that has the most buttons. There was a recent post on the subreddit about this.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
it had 36 because of the class win or something. It was,
Yeah.
but they all had quite a lot. But I don't think I've ever got a level of Scholar.
It's fine though.
I think I've used Summoner for the entire Scholar experience.
Yeah.
I get my Scholar fill by playing Sage, and that feels good.
Sage is
They're
such
very
a good class.
Scholar and Sage are very different in terms
Yeah,
of how
one's
they feel
fun.
in
Yes.
Yeah, no, but they are different, but they have a lot of the same functions in an
They have the same
more-
tools.
Yeah, which I think feel better on Sage, and they make more sense in like how the I guess the healing
Sage is
rotation.
nice.
Yeah.
I
One
like
of the
Sage
things
a lot.
that some Scholar players like about Scholar, which is something that is not the case with a lot of jobs since the homogenization, is that some people like that it's not immediately apparent what you're doing as Scholar. Like, it's not clear. There's not a clear route of efficiency. That's what some people like about Scholar. So
You have to learn something about
But that's
it.
not how
good, though.
jobs work in this game, is the thing. So it sticks out, and one
That's
day
true.
that nail's gonna get hammered down.
8.0,
yeah, but you see, the
baby.
thing is,
Yeah.
but here's the thing. That's what makes Scholar currently the best healer in the game, I believe.
Just you wait, your time will come, Georgi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be
time will come.
nerfed.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, to be fucking mangled beyond recognition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say that as if Scholar is not already like mangled in its own way.
They're going to break your job so hard they'll have to change the name of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how they can break a
they'll-
job that I already think is fundamentally broken.
Your new
All your
name?
abilities are just expedient.
Dead.
They're gonna fix it.
Dead is the new name. Okay. Well, thank you, Honey Rider. I think we've
I
somehow
hope so.
answered your question.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And on that note, let's move on to our main story. The publication Inverse did an
It's a new
interview
one, I think.
with.
No, we've done Inverse before.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think we have. I recognize
Well,
the
nice to
layout.
see you again.
They've
This is how
interviewed.
This is how Mailer interacts with people that he seemingly has met before but doesn't remember in any way.
Yes, yeah.
To be honest, in real life, I just go, hi.
Hi.
Try and walk away as quickly as possible. Are you?
Okay, Final Fantasy XIV devs explain why they chose Final Fantasy XI for the game's latest big crossover. One of the biggest challenges facing a game like Final Fantasy XIV is the fact that it has to have what's essentially a revolving door of content. MMORPGs live and breathe by keeping players engaged, constantly having something new and shiny to do. Among the laundry list of quests, Alliance raids have always stood out as one of the best that Final Fantasy XIV has to offer. Massive 24-player raids with deep, intricate stories and crossovers with beloved games. Dawn Trail marks the game's most ambitious Alliance raid yet, combining Square Enix's two big MMOs with the Echoes of Vana'diel crossover. But there's a deliberate reason Alliance raids keep being crossovers instead of original stories.
So what was Tales of the Realm?
Myths of the Realm?
Myths of the Realm. Thank you.
Myths of
Sorry.
the
I don't know. It didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. Forget
Okay.
about it. Many of the past
Or Mark.
yeah, didn't happen. Don't worry about
Or, yeah.
Crystal Tower.
it. Or
Crystal
no,
Tower
didn't happen.
Our Crystal Tower is much more ingrained in the lore of our game than Final Fantasy III.
Yeah.
I mean, Crystal Tower is hard to ignore because it's now required to progress
Exactly.
past a Realm Reborn.
It
So,
never happened.
Actually, and to be honest, Evilise has actually been quite well ingrained into our lore. So
We made
maybe
that up.
Evilise and this one.
Uh-huh.
Maybe Evilise and this one.
Okay. Many of the past Final Fantasy titles have strong sentimental value for both fans and us developers. So we all tend to have high expectations for content based on those games. And when we set out to create something that meets those expectations, the overall content inevitably becomes quite substantial in size, says the lead battle content designer Masaki Nakagawa. With that in mind...
I actually had quite low expectations based on the game this is a collaboration with.
Mela.
But it excelled
Bait.
them quite a lot. It excelled, well, it did a lot better than it could have done.
I'm still waiting for the 11 combat to get exciting, Kyo. I'm sorry.
Well, that's fair. That's okay. That's a real...
I mean, if they had done 11 combat in this raid only, that'd have been so funny.
That would have
That would have
been
been so funny.
crazy.
I'd have been so impressed.
You had to scroll through menus to get to the spelling menus.
Navigating it with your numpad, getting up and down. Oh, that'd be great. No, you can actually use your arrow keys. And also like the camera system being enforced as well.
Oh, please don't. No, that's literally the main flaw of 11 is the camera.
Yeah. Okay. With that in mind, Alliance raids allow us to divide the scenario and battle content across 3 patches and invest sufficient resources to create a hefty amount of content. With a game like Final Fantasy XI, there was no shortage of inspiration the development team could draw. While Final Fantasy XIV is the midst of echoes of Vana'diel, Inverse had the chance to talk to Nakagawa and the scenario writing team, diving into the complex process of making a crossover and designing massive raids. This is funny. If you're interested in playing Final Fantasy XI and seeing the history of the raids yourself, Square Enix is also running a discount for a limited time. Active Final Fantasy XIV players, or anyone that reactivates an account, will receive a discount on their Final Fantasy XI subscription for 30 days. The bonus runs until March 11th, and you can see more details on the official website. Remember that the official website is HTTP, and you will most likely get like a virus warning if you go in there.
You get a virus
so
play online.
Be careful.
It is still HTTP. Why did I link here? Why couldn't they make a fucking version on the Lodestone so I don't have to go to somewhere that feels unsafe?
I reckon I can go on the original Ultima Online website and it doesn't give me a suspicious connection message.
It's such a
small indie companies.
It's such a Square Enix thing to do. They're like, well, this is an 11 campaign, so we have to use the Play Online website. We can't make a new one. We've always done this. So that's what they've done. Okay, the Vana'diel raids are interesting as they represent a crossover with an MMO that's still going. How much did the 14 team work with the 11 development team, and how much did you consult them when designing these raids?
I think it's very generous to say that 11 is still going, but I mean, they did apparently have a raid recently.
Yeah, they did.
I think because of this, though.
Probably,
to try and get some interest.
Yeah. Nakagawa says, plans for Echoes of Vana'diel, EOV, started around winter of 2023, alongside the development of Dawn Trail. Those of us in the battle content team began the project by deciding the 4 bosses, while the scenario team concentrated on their tasks for Dawn Trail. Once the bosses were decided, we then moved on to working on the design of the overall dungeon and outlining the story.
Don't read this large part. This is later.
That's large.
Spoilers.
The Final Fantasy XI team primarily supervised the original concept, plot, and the in-game text of the scenario, as well as the voices and dialogue of the NPCs and boss characters.
Voices? Did they have
I guess,
any input in the casting?
Maybe just to make sure the delivery sounded how they envisioned Preach and stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they had to, I mean,
it's a second voice actor for Preach. Preach had a different one in Dissidia, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sure. We also asked them...
I didn't know she was in Dissidia.
She was, yeah. We also asked them to provide the final assessment in ensuring the overall battle content was consistent with the universes and lore of 11 and 14, and to check whether there were any concerns about elements that were given a 14 original twist.
I wonder if there were. That's the trouble with something like this. It's obviously past now, but it'd be interesting to know if there was anything they had took issue with.
Yeah.
Like what the original plans were. Talk about that.
I was kind of hoping...
Also, it'd be fun to watch an 11 developer play 14.
Oh, yeah. I mean...
It'd be such a different experience for them.
I was kind of hoping we'd see, like, an 11 Moogle, but I know we're never getting that because we didn't get a 12 Moogle in the Ivalice one. They're just afraid of doing that.
But Ivalice is in... Ilsabard.
Yeah, that's true. That makes more sense.
I thought it's somewhere around there, whereas this is actually another shard.
That's true.
So there is a chance we will.
Well, is it a shard or is it
we don't know what
we don't actually know. No, that's the thing. If
but
it was a shard...
more of a chance here.
Yeah. The fact that it's not outright said that it's a shard, I feel like they're trying to make it as ambiguous as possible. Like, we don't vague,
I mean, as far as we know, that fucking... Mamuljar, I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
He was in the interdimensional rift
Yes.
which has access to things that aren't shards.
Yes.
So,
Sorelja.
Yeah.
thank you, Mila.
Yeah. So
Gosh, I forgot he was part of this. Oh, yeah.
This is all he's the main antagonist.
yeah.
He's the worst part of this story. Like, it's weird. Oh, I hate that.
He's making 11 his image, Mila.
Yeah.
He is. It's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, he's weird.
Well, 11 fans apparently are very glad, happy that this is not, that it might seem like 11 is not just a shard, because to them that makes their world lesser, you know?
I would be unhappy with that.
Yeah. Okay. Final Fantasy XI obviously has years of content to choose from. How did you pick which pieces of content, monsters, and characters to include? Was there anything you ended up cutting out?
Ooh.
Nakagawa says that during the initial development of EOV, we held a brainstorming session to decide the 4 bosses that would be featured in the first installment. Numerous ideas were pitched, but naturally, there were also many that didn't make the cut. After deciding the 4 bosses, we discussed with the lore and scenario teams to start working on the story and level design. There were some unique level design ideas, such as having each alliance start in Ronfair. Oh my goodness, I can never say this. Saruta, I always just said Baruta.
I just said
Saruta
Baruta,
Yeah.
Gustaberg. Or
Dude, that
even
would've been
Lower
so
Juno,
much
Upper Juno,
cooler.
Port Juno. But we had to forgo these ideas as they weren't realistic with our development resources and system-related limitations.
That's genuinely
It
the
does
coolest
sound
thing they could have done.
Really cool.
That every time until you'd had all 3 starts, you'd have been looking forward to queuing every week.
Yeah.
Until you'd
The
experience.
idea that you
That's
can't
so
get
much
the
more
mapping
fun.
the realm achievement until you get into each of the 3
Yeah.
alliances.
Yeah.
But it'll happen eventually, so it's fine. Oh, that sounds good.
It
Yeah.
sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
that's
sounds
really
cool.
disappointing.
But,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely sounds like
It only has to be like
Yeah.
the first trash pull. Like it's just a
It only has to be for like 2 trash pulls, and then
Yeah.
you get teleported to the first boss.
Yeah.
But I understand that requires 3 times the resources of what we ended up getting, which still looks very good. I think
Juno's
Lucio and
amazing.
many other 11 players would say that the version of Port Juno in our game looks really impressive and is a nice upgrade of what it appears like in 11.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, as you can see...
But maybe they started on this, and therefore, I mean, we talked about the other states
Yeah.
as possible future ones, so maybe they've just reworked them.
As you can see, during the initial brainstorming phase, we sometimes pitch all our ideas without worrying about development resources and limitations. From there, we keep the fun elements and work on making them feasible. We do a thorough analysis of our ideas. Even if something sounds interesting, it might be too costly in development resources or may be hindered by a system limitation. By looking at an idea from these various angles, we can find ways to save on resource costs or remove system-related constraints to further refine our plans. Yeah, Lost.
Just makes sense. Shoot
Yeah.
high and come back down.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How did you approach designing the story for this Alliance Raid series? How did you make sure it could appeal to both fans of 11 and players who may have never touched that game? Note, Square Enix preferred to attribute this answer to the scenario team as a whole, rather than a single person. That's such a Square Enix
That's weird.
thing to say.
Okay.
Okay.
They have like corporate people, like lawyers and stuff in the background.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
What the
On
hell?
this question, everyone is answering.
All right.
Put that from the record.
Yeah, yeah. They all just start talking at once, like just one voice.
The
hive mind.
Eyes, like their eyes, just lose the light in them.
Our goal with the EOV scenario is to draw the attention of those unfamiliar with Final Fantasy XI and pique their interest in playing the game. To achieve this, we featured the various commonalities between 11 and 14 to make Vana'diel seem more approachable for those who haven't experienced it. We also introduced...
But it isn't.
Well, we also introduced Alxar, an adventurer, to tie up...
Alzar.
Oh yeah, fuck, right, you're right. Alzar, an adventurer to tie the 2 universes together. Many of the game designers on this project, including those of us on the scenario team, have dedicated a great deal of our lives to Final Fantasy XI. We have a deep fondness and appreciation for the game that gave us so many memories, and we will do our best to convey the greatness of Vana'diel as our way of giving back. Echoes
That's
of...
fair.
Yeah. We've discussed this part before. Echoes of Vana'diel is the third alliance raid that directly takes from the past Final Fantasy games. Why do you think that formula works so well for alliance raids specifically? Nakagawa says, many of the past Final Fantasy titles have strong sentimental value for both fans and us developers. So we all tend to have high expectations for content based on those games. And when we set out to create something that meets those expectations, the overall content inevitably becomes quite substantial in size. With that in mind, alliance raids allow us to divide the scenario and battle content across 3 patches and invest sufficient resources to create a hefty amount of content. That's the biggest reason why content based on previous Final Fantasy titles are well suited for the alliance raid format. However, I'd like to clarify that we aren't fixated on keeping this framework as is. Hopefully, in the future, we can make a new content format that will provide our players with even more surprises and emotion than ever before.
Does that
Literally
mean?
the vaguest thing you could
Yeah,
say.
very...
Hopefully one day we can do something else with this game that will be very fun.
Yeah.
Meaningless thing to say.
Yeah.
But thank you for that, Nakagawa.
I'll just expect that your Marco reactor raids to be the next alliance raid in 8.0.
How did you approach the mechanics and unique elements of this raid? How did you want to make sure it represented the experience of Final Fantasy XI? Nakagawa says that before deciding the battle mechanics for EOV, I began by coming up with the themes and concepts for each boss fight. For the first boss, Preesh, I decided early on that the encounter would feature comically exaggerated visuals and battle mechanics to represent Preesh's unique personality in the battle itself. From there, I took her moves from Final Fantasy XI, such as Auroral Uppercut and Knuckle Sandwich, and carefully fleshed out the ideas while taking care not to deviate too far from the characteristics of the original moves. Yeah, true. That is, 11 players immediately went when they saw Auroral Uppercut, so...
I clapped.
Yeah.
I clapped when I saw the thing.
Oh,
As for the
Knuckle
second...
Sandwich, you stupid face. That's it.
As for the second boss, Fafnir, the theme was simply to have an enormous and mighty dragon that uses dynamic and spectacular attacks. Once the theme was decided, I considered the visual appearances of its moves from Final Fantasy XI, such as Hurricane Wing and Dragon Breath, would look like, and incorporated those into the battle mechanics. Also iconic. I used the same approach for all boss battles in EOV, but sometimes I work on the battle mechanics first. There are times when I take a certain approach based on the battle content designer's preferred method or follow specific instructions from the lead game designer directing the content. The approach we take is decided on a case-by-case basis depending on various factors, such as schedule, the game designer's expertise, and overall theme of the content.
All the bosses are really well designed in this raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
They all have unique mechanics, and they feel
none of them feel
unique.
samey.
No.
Definitely one of the most satisfying raids out there, especially after the Snorefest that was fucking the last raid in the Mists of a Realm.
Yeah.
My God.
Went out
We
with a wet
over-leveled
fart.
Mists of the Realm a bit too quickly. Within the same
I think
patch,
that's
it
one of
was
the main
already quick.
issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just so boring. It was so boring to
The last boss was the worst
like,
part.
The last boss was a letdown.
Yeah.
Well, here's the interesting thing, Rollo, is that since we've moved on, and since the overall player base has started to forget the mechanics, people apparently have started fucking up the final boss of
oh no,
Thalea. So that takes now for some people it's taking longer than it did when it was relevant.
That's
well, you know what? Sure.
So
It's
it's
back
the
to
kind of
being-
thing where maybe what we thought was undertuned is actually tuned correctly, but the player base skill level is more at that level when it comes out, and then it drops with time.
Yeah.
Skipping, Chad's also right. Skipping scales is not even a thing that happens every time.
Oh
anymore.
my God! What happened to the player base? We get lobotomized? What happened?
Apparently.
Rollo, when something isn't relevant anymore, there's just memories of those mechanics just evaporate from their mind. Look at Lakeel.
Just hit your
That's
buttons.
true.
Just hit the
Yes.
buttons, bro.
Okay.
Put the buttons in the bag.
Yeah.
I know. I think the first Myths was probably still my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree there.
Yeah.
I will always defend Thalea, and I'm glad that because people are now less competent, it's becoming more apparently difficult.
I mean, it's a good thing for it to be a challenge when you go, and that's the point of it.
Yeah.
So that's it.
Okay. How similar or different was your process to, say, adapting the mechanics of Final Fantasy Tactics in the Evilise Alliance raids?
What?
Nakagawa says the Return to Evilise project started when producer and director Naoki Yoshida reached out to Woolhead and got piss drunk of Algebra
It does
Factory.
Not say that.
To see if he would be interested in creating a new Alliance raid series together. In response, Mr. Matsuno proposed the idea of Return to Evilise, which would incorporate elements from the Evilise universe. He then wrote the plot himself, and that's how the project started. On the design side of things, illustrator and film director Keita Amamiya joined the project and provided a new design direction for Final Fantasy XIV.
I want to know how fucking drunk he was when he decided that Ash and her husband would be siblings in our version of the
Yeah, that's such a weird change. I'll never
love
get over it.
The Woolhead arc, when he, like, the streams of them just drinking.
Yes.
They were absolute dynamite.
I kind of love
fact
that
he
part.
ended up with...
It was
like,
an era.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Raid.
miss them.
Yeah.
I missed them, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the raid was good, but then it was like, for this quest, make them make high-quality bacon bread.
Yeah.
That was optional,
Who the
mate.
hell? It was still side content.
Do you remember we actually had? I think it was during the one of the anniversary streams where Yoshida and Woolhead were just drinking wine and just shooting the shit, and we had no idea what was going on. There was a live translation, and the translator just went something about, like, there's a joke about Yoshi P out on the street. Like, I remember that so vividly, and we were just like, what?
I wish we could.
What is happening?
That, you know? Why don't we just, get a bottle in and just yap?
Yeah.
This is only something related, but do you remember how so somebody once tweeted at Woolhead, and this was the big thing, and they're like, "Wow, I liked your Ivoli stuff in Bozja. That was cool." And then he was like, "Thank you. Everyone hated it, and I am never doing this again."
Yes.
That's how that came out.
That's so
Someone
true.
was like, that was cool.
That was a member of our community. That was Valvedrex.
Oh right.
Oh yeah, that's so true. Yeah. Oh my god.
Everyone hated it.
It's like, hey, I
You're
love
also-
your stuff. Never happened.
You're also remembering it worse than it was. He said
it wasn't
the
that
response.
bad.
The response was very mixed
Yeah.
in Japan.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
a one. We don't know if it will ever happen
Between the
again.
lines,
That-
though. It's
Yes.
what
That's
Rolla
So,
so funny.
I put the
Thank
American
you, everyone.
translation on it.
hated
Yeah,
it. It's the funniest thing that you could do.
says.
God damn.
Yeah.
Man, we dub Woolhead.
I think overall we were possibly higher on the Bosnia storyline than we were on the original Return to Evilly storyline.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I liked the buzz.
I think part of
the
the issue of the original Return to Evilly storyline was that we had to get used to the bizarre changes he made to the original lore of 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he still decided that Bash and Noah would be father and son rather than brothers.
Yeah.
So,
There's a
That's
lot
true.
of weird changes he made.
I think the reason why I might have been lower on it is just because it was less the original thing, you know? I mean, they were working their way into it, but it was still, I think, the core of it being like, this is the thing you remember.
Yeah.
Remember
But
for
slightly
but
wrong.
not exactly
Yeah.
how I remember.
No,
it.
no,
no,
Possibly
yeah.
not exactly how I want. And this is possibly not how I want that memory to be altered.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
I
like
think
we're gonna try and do a one-for-one replica of 12, but also just change a few things for fun
Yeah.
for no reason.
It was
on your
odd.
toes.
Yeah.
But
Like,
then
no,
all
I
of the really
appreciate
important
that.
stuff will just kill like characters off screen in text that you might have a chance
that
of
was
picking up.
from the that's something else.
Like a lot
I
of weird
also
things
like-
happened.
I think one of the cleverest things they did in Return to Evilise was combining tactics locations with 12 locations.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good raid series all in all.
Yeah, I would
Was.
say 11 is kind of the worst, or the 11 raid here is kind of the worst version of, like, remember the thing? This the thing. Like,
See, I still
right?
don't feel that way, but I
But
mean, even as someone that isn't an 11 player, I feel like it's a bit more deep than that. But
yeah,
There's a
I-
lot of stuff though for 11 players. There's
yeah.
so much.
They even have references to like memes.
Yeah,
of,
community
like,
memes.
locations and stuff, which
Yeah.
is quite.
When you're
on the
doing
nose.
memes, I think you're really deep in the, like, Remember?
But I think,
It was
I
very
think,
much for
but I think
nostalgia.
this is like the one game where that's okay because they're like sister games, you know. Like if that's such a thing exists, I mean that's the
I mean, not even knocking it that badly, really. Again, I prefer it to be in world kind of thing. You know, that's all.
Yeah.
Remember that they made a Bonga a cannon race on Heidelin, and the
Low
other
poly
one.
PS2 models.
Yes.
And
Well,
yet
yeah,
they've never explored the world.
No.
No, it's fascinating, and the reason we'll probably never get them as a
Yeah.
as a society that we can interact with is because they all have unique models rather than making a generic that they could reuse over and over again.
They could make a generic as an iteration of those ones. It's,
if they want to commit,
like them to.
I think they would. If they did commit,
I mean, they've committed already. They've made them official.
They've made the rigs for them, so they could just make a generic texture.
Did they make? I mean, I feel like it's one of the things where they've ripped the rig from another game, similar to how they ripped enemy models.
I don't think you can. I think the game is built on a very old, different engine, and you have to rebuild
the Bonga are on a. I think we're running on a unique rig, weren't they? I don't.
They might have a unique rig.
Yeah, we might. Let's not. We know nothing about nobody.
I mean, we
here.
don't make games. But
No,
I think they did have to remake some stuff. I think just the model.
I think a lot of work. Remember, these were animated when they spoke as well. So like there was.
That was good.
Yeah.
Even though it was quite. I mean, it was PS2 models, but still.
Yeah. The little
It's
flaps.
fine. Chuck them in the game. Make them explore the world. Put a few, Seek and Turialal or something.
Well, that wouldn't make any sense. They belong. Well, I guess so.
What do you mean
actually,
belong?
they could be anywhere.
They can explore wherever they want.
Well, currently in the world, it seems like they're very, very locked into
very
Dalmasca.
localized.
I don't like that. I don't like
Dalmasca and Bosnia, which isn't Dalmasca.
Right.
They're very sensitive to climate, and that Ivalice is the perfect climate.
That's
Anywhere else, they'll die instantly.
Yeah. Okay. Mr. Matsuno had a hand in various aspects of the project, from the initial proposal to a full playthrough of the finalized scenario, and even participating in group playtests of the battle content.
Wow.
Director Amamiya not only helped with reviews of the 3D modeling, but also provided wonderful direction on map lighting and the environment. As such, Return to Ivalice was not only a crossover between different games, but also a crossover of creativity.
Wow.
The Echoes of Vana'diel project, on the other hand, began from internal discussions regarding potential themes for a new Alliance Raid series. Final Fantasy XI was chosen as it was celebrating its 20th anniversary at the time, and we knew there were many 11 fans in the Final Fantasy XIV community. So,
the on the other hand was quite funny.
yeah, it made it.
It wasn't just a crossover of games, but a crossover of creativity. Vana'diel, on the other hand,
was shit.
Not creative and barely even different games.
So as you can see, we took significantly different approaches to designing these Alliance Raid series. However, our fundamental direction remained the same for both projects. We treated the original works with respect and took great care with every aspect we brought over from those titles, and we blended them in with the rest of the 14 universe. We have a strong desire to treasure the Final Fantasy XIV universe and the titles we cross over with. So whenever we incorporate an element from another title, we carefully deliberate on which aspects of their lore to incorporate and how the elements of their universe should be integrated with the universe of Final Fantasy XIV. This, I believe, will remain true for any other crossovers we may have in the future. There you go. That's it. That's it. Which fair.
Cool.
Bring
back Woolhead though.
Don't even
let. You don't have to make him do any work, but just have him on the streams more.
Yeah, I just remember being constantly flabbergasted when he was on stream because he was such a chaotic element in every
the
live
wine.
stream.
I was like,
the wine was so good.
Yeah.
What is Japanese work culture like that they can just do this? What
he
the
was just
fuck?
chilling.
I mean, the wine between them is very different than it would be between other colleagues. They are both senior members, and therefore they have a degree of freedom that
they can do what they want.
Yeah,
they do what they want. They're rock
the
stars,
salaryman
dude.
does not.
They're rock
Just
stars.
He can just sit
businessmen
there.
drinking on a stream though. That's
With his green screen proof hair, you'd always see the edges on that.
Yes,
but alcohol is also a massive part of Japanese work culture in general.
Remember, Rodo, if you're the new person on the team in Japan, you're obligated to go out drinking every time they ask, and that'll be all night, and then you'll be lying on the streets, and then you'll go into work first thing in the morning and get on with your job.
Well, you might not even have. Yeah, you won't even have a chance to catch the last train sometimes.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, they sleep in a capsule hotel or just on the roadside.
I'm also just remembering that we've referred to him as Woolhead. It's been a while since we've talked about Woolhead. That's just the name we gave Matsuno because he had
his Woolhead.
Well, it became a community name for him.
Yeah, we like it.
He had his hair for a period of time looked like it was just wool.
I liked that hair.
That was iconic. He doesn't have it anymore.
Does he not?
No, we've seen him since, and he doesn't have the wool head anymore.
Maybe he needs to bring that back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they didn't let him back writing anymore, because he lost the hair.
Yeah.
I mean, he's still working with Yoshi P. The most recent thing he worked on was Tactics Ogre Reborn, which I believe was also a project that was largely made by CS3.
Tactics Ogre Reborn was really good.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good port.
Please correct me if I'm mistaken.
I've not got very far in it, but it's really good. I don't know who made it.
That's a woolhead joint.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. That's it. That's the interview with the dev team about why they chose 11 for the Alliance Raid series, and that is the end of the show. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week. We'll be discussing we'll be reviewing Little Ladies Day, which will be out on the 3rd?
5th or 4th?
Or was it the 5th or 4th? Oh, I don't remember.
I don't know.
I think it's
maybe it is the 3rd.
It's on Monday.
Little
it's
Ladies
not on...
Day is on the 3rd.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Monday the 3rd. Be there right before it starts, so you can.
Oh, it's because it's the 4th for me.
Yeah. So you can watch the stuff just phase in. It's very fun. It's early in the morning though for Europe, so
yeah. If you
set your alarms
and you know where the stage is going to be, you might be able to clip with your little head poking out.
That's true. You can do that. I think you can do that, and no, that's actually fully solid. I think.
Also, doesn't the stage refresh every now and then that you'll fall through it, and then you'll be stuck in it?
That's true. Yeah.
Try and get your head stuck in the stage.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's it for the show. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll be back next week. Same time, same place. Remember to follow on our socials, SpeakersXIV, youtube.com/SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord in chat if you want to join our Discord server, and if you're watching on demand, link is in the description. Remember to send us MogMail, speakersXIV.com/MogMail, and if you're watching live, the post-show will be coming up, so make sure you catch that. All right, see you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.